My parents tried to claim my rare books as theirs, so I lawyered up and removed them all. I used a throwaway because my family watches my main account, and I need to tell this straight. When I was 11, my mum, Jen, sat me at the table and asked if I was okay with a man named Brian moving into our house. I had never heard his name before that day. My sister, Ruth, asked to go to her room. My brother Tom wasn't home. It was just me across from my mum, confused, asking why she never told us she was seeing someone. She brushed past the question and wanted a yes or no. A week later, Brian moved in. From the start, he made it clear we were baggage. He told me to stay in my bedroom and only come out for chores. If I pushed back, he and Jen said they could move away without us and start fresh somewhere else. He called me stupid over small things, like doing homework before dinner. If I went to Jen for help, she changed the subject or told me to try harder. They stopped taking us on family trips. The last vacation I got was when I was 10 for my godmother's wedding. After that, Jen and Brian went on 3 holidays a year without us. I counted the days until I turned 18. I saved what I could, found a tiny place, and moved out the day I signed the lease. No more Brian. Tom and Ruth wanted to come with me, but Jen said no, and I didn't know how to fight that. I was working long shifts, sometimes nights. I didn't think a judge would hand me 2 kids with their mother still there. I left with clothes, a laptop, and keys I no longer used. One thing stayed at Jen's house, my book collection. It was my pride. Some were inherited. All were stored right, in a locked room. I couldn't keep them safe in my small flat, and Jen had promised they'd be fine. We talked a few weeks ago about getting the last few authenticated. She said she'd handle it. I believed her. The books were worth a lot, and that value came with rules. No dust, no sunlight. Today, I called Tom while I was on a bus back from seeing a friend. He'd stopped by Jen's to pick up some things. I asked him to check on the books and see if the authentication appointment was set. He put me on speaker and asked Brian where my books were. I heard Brian laugh. What books? My books? Tom said. No, his books. The ones you're keeping safe. Brian said again, my books. I told Tom to ask him to explain. Brian said they were theirs now, that they bought them. My chest went tight. I tried calling Jen. No answer. Brian grabbed the phone and called me a pathetic liar and said Ruth's books were theirs too. Mine were never sold. Jen called back hours later. She agreed she didn't buy my books, but she still wouldn't confront him. I told her I wasn't going to let them take my future kids' inheritance. I said her failure to set boundaries let this happen. I said I would report them, sue them, and cut them off if my books weren't returned. I meant it. I called my lawyer that night. They said they'd contact Jen and Brian at once, and that all contact should go through the firm. While my lawyer prepared letters, Jen tried to work the edges. She called Ruth to get her to calm me down. Ruth told her to let the process happen and hung up. He said he supported me. Brian yelled in the background, tossing insults like ungrateful and worse. My lawyer sent the notice 2 days later. Jen called them back and said she wanted me to pick up the books. She said Brian would be out of the city that day, and that the room was still locked. She also told Brian, according to her, that if he really thought they were his, he should offer me market value plus 30% and accept no if I said no. He insisted he didn't owe me anything and that I wouldn't win. Jen told him I had proof and he'd lose. I rented a van and 2 soft dollies. I brought clean gloves, fresh wraps, and a checklist. When I pulled into the drive, Brian's car wasn't there. The garage and the front patio were clear. I walked past Jen without stopping. She tried to get me to sit and talk, saying she regretted how she treated me, saying we should speak like adults. I kept moving. The room key was where it always was. The door opened with a small click. Inside, the shelves looked the same. I checked spines, logged titles, and started packing. I wrapped each book, loaded each box, and stacked them in the hallway, then out to the van. Jen stood nearby and kept talking. She wanted me to act like the last decade didn't happen. I didn't answer. My lawyer had already said what needed to be said. Once the books were in my custody, and as long as they made no more claims, the matter was resolved. When the last box went in, I locked the room, set the key on the counter, and put my set of house keys next to it. Jen asked me to keep them. I walked out to the van, strapped the load, and shut the doors. The house looked the same, but it wasn't mine. It hadn't been mine since I was 11, and a stranger's boxes came through the door. I got in, turned the engine, and drove away with everything that was always mine. Now my family is saying I'm cruel for taking my books back. Was I wrong for it?